This next story out of central Alabama is the type of crime that is not only hardest to wrap your head around about why this is happening or why this happened, but frankly, I'll tell you right now, it is some of the hardest stories to report. Family annihilation. A man named Brandon Kendrick, 32 years old, is charged with 5 counts of capital murder in the shooting deaths of his wife, their 6-year-old son, their 2-year-old daughter, and 2 of their children's cousins, aged 9 and 6. The family had just celebrated the 9-year-old's birthday when Kendrick allegedly got up, retrieved his 9mm handgun, and shot everybody in the head. He reportedly only stopped when he was brought down by his grandfather, the man who raised him from the age of 12, after an early childhood reportedly filled with sexual, physical, and mental abuse. Kendrick has pleaded not guilty by mental disease. And for insights on that, I want to turn now to Dr. Katherine Ramsland. She's a forensic psychologist and author of several books, including The Serial Killer's Apprentice, How Houston's Deadliest Murderer Turned a Kid into a Killing Machine. Thank you for coming on tonight, and I'm sorry this is the topic we have to talk about, but Kendrick's pleaded not guilty by mental disease. His grandfather says that the first 12 years of life, he faced sexual, physical, emotional abuse. He even said that Kendrick was diagnosed with schizophrenia at age 9. So assuming that is all true, could that trigger this alleged violence?
Well, certainly if he had a head injury. Also, if he had been abused, we really don't know much about it. But early onset schizophrenia in a child is very unusual. And if he were having mental issues and he wasn't taking his medication and he didn't have the skills for really shouldering frustration, certainly we have the makings of somebody who could become violent. Not everybody who's abused becomes violent, but he has a lot of stuff in his background that really gives us red flags.
The fact that the report says that he shot everybody in the head, that's what the allegation is, what does that tell you? That manner of killing, that where he ended or allegedly ended up shooting everybody, does that tell you something?
It sounds execution, but we don't actually know where in the head because one child was, I think, running away when he was shot. So I'm really not sure unless I could hear where exactly the shots were, but it does sound like an execution.
And by the way, the timing of it, they were celebrating a birthday, everyone laughing just 10 minutes before. And when I thought about it, I was saying to myself, do you think that he planned it, right? This isn't a case of mental illness. This is him wanting to kill his family, everybody together. What better time? Or if you take what the defense has been putting forward, or you take what the grandfather said, could that be a trigger? Something about that birthday was a trigger that set him off?
The birthday party was at another house. His wife had taken their 2 kids to the other house, to the party where the cousins were. He had been calling her for over an hour to come back home. She had been posting on social media that she was considering leaving him. He had lost his full-time job. He was unable to take that, to keep it. She couldn't work. They had lost benefits. They were living in a garage apartment. There's a lot of strain in this marriage. He is telling her to come back. Her plan had been to stay overnight at the other house because the mother of the cousins that were killed was going to have surgery the next day. But she was persuaded to come back home. She brought her 2 and the cousins so that she could watch them while the other mother was having surgery. So that wasn't where the party was. But yes, they were laughing, seeming to have a good time. However, the door was broken down. I would suggest an argument ensued because their marriage was already under strain. An argument ensued. She probably locked the door. He broke it down, and that is when he shot them. So it doesn't sound planned to me. And I think that's what he's going to say, that it wasn't planned. He didn't seem to even know what he had done. I think he was enraged at something. Yeah. And certainly the fathers who kill their families tend to have a sense of ownership where you can't leave me. I'm the one who makes the decisions. Those kids belong to me. And that's part of what happens.
And you know what the saddest part about this is? No matter how this legal case winds up, we may never get the answers as to what really happened. And that's one of the tragic thing. Dr. Katherine Ramsland, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.